newspaper, the Nagaland Post, in front of me, and what we see here is Alam quits as NDPP working president. Mr. Alam Teshi Jamir, Alam Temshi Jamir has quit and has cited the reason. He said the NDPP has denigrated to mere material power and political considerations and devoid of democratic discussions and values, and that is exactly where I'm going to take it from. And to set the context, I'm reminded of this poem by one renowned poet, the ageless poem, When They Came for the Jews. When they came for the Jews, I did not speak because I was not a Jew. First they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one to speak out for me. Those are the words of Martin Niemöller, and with this, let me begin today's agenda, my friends. The word Adivasi means first inhabitants. This word, Adivasi, the first inhabitants of Mother Nature, the blessed children of Mother Nature. This term Adivasi embodies the saga of strength of the Naga people and the 704 other tribal people in this country. But that is the word the BJP has a problem with. BJP, the friends of the NDPP, the friends of Nephew Rio. While Naga identity is your true pride that the Congress has ever stood for, it is the same identity, my friends, that the dear friends of the NDPP, the BJP, has a problem with, as I said. You see, the BJP is, an expert of renaming. You must have seen the headlines recently, a couple of days ago. Mughal gardens, ages-old Mughal gardens in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, in the President's house in Delhi, were renamed to Amrit Udyan. The Rajpath was last year renamed to Kartavya Path. And the ages-old agenda of the BJP in Nagaland is to rename, of the RSS is to rename Adivasis to Vanvasi, because they want to reduce the first inhabitants of Mother Nature to being mere forest dwellers. And this is leading me to my agenda of the day, which is the Draconian Laws of the government. While the corruption-laden Rio government, my friends, has shown the way into the Operation Lotus, one of the biggest scams in the history of Nagaland, where 70 crores of public money has been siphoned in the name of the High Court. The High Court scam that has led the BJP into Nagaland via Assam. Today, what we talk about is how the Chief Minister has become obsequious to the BJP, following into the steps of Assam and Meghalaya. Whoever has allied with the BJP in the past has actually gone extinct. Since 1998, I must apprise all of you of this. Since 1998, the central government, now the central government of the BJP that was sitting in the opposition at that point in time, the BJP has actually demanded this uniform civil code. Their agenda, abrogation of 370, Ram Mandir is now done away with. 2024 is going to be about the uniform civil code. They want to Hinduize, mind this term, they want to Hinduize the ways of marriage, divorce, succession, adoption, guardianship and inheritance in this country. Hinduize the ways of these ways of life. The BJP knows only one color, my friends. And that one color is saffron. The first color of the tricolor. Which is why they actually disapproved, their Guru Golwalkar disapproved of the tricolor. They said Hindus will never accept the tricolor. And that saffron color is what they want to paint upon the entire country and our diversity. They are in negligence of the second color of the tricolor, which is white, which depicts the unity in diversity, the inclusivity of the indigenous cultures that this largest democracy of the world nurtures. I will remind you of a remark by Mr. Rajesh Das. Who is Mr. Rajesh Das? Mr. Rajesh Das is the organization's secretary of Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram, an outfit run by the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh RSS in the northeastern region of this country. So Mr. Rajesh Das had a couple of years ago proclaimed, and I'll read it out, we consider every tribe to be a part of Hindu or Sanatan Dharma. We consider all Vanvasis a part of this larger Dharma. We'll see what happens to them after 100 or 200 years. And now, at this moment as we talk, we are sitting amidst those 100 or 200 years, my friends. And one must note what is going on. During 1960s, if you recall, when the RSS and the VHP, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, began to forge its Hindu supremacist ideology on the minds of the non-Christian Heraka Nagas, thus followed by the glorification and projection of Rani Gedinliu, who was dearly given that obsequiate by none other than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who also gave recognition to Nagaland as a state of the biggest democracy of the world, saving it the vulnerability that it would have otherwise been rendered in. So this glorification and projection of Rani Gedinliu, projecting it as if it is the BJP or the RSS or the Hindu culture which led her to do what she did, the remarkable movement that she led against the British. Then recently, I'm talking about the history, and now I'm bringing you to the present situation now. Now what is happening? This glorification is happening, this including the Nagas into the Sanatan Dharma is happening. Now where they are headed, you would see that more recently multiple institutes by Patanjali in the area of the northeastern states, leading to BJP's resolve of the ultimate Hindu Rashtra, is being executed. And one must remember that one of the biggest pieces of land measuring 1200 acres, that's not a small piece of land, especially in the bordering states of Northeast. 1200 acres, my friend, have been given to Patanjali free of cost, although nowadays we see that the mindset of the cult Baba Ramdev seems to be shifting after the Yatra. Yatra has, caused that dent on these lakhs of crores of rupees, and this strategy that the BJP was forging on the, in pursuit of its Hindu resolve. Now, while the BJP will swear on Hindu, uniform civil code in the general elections of 2024, and in view of the history that I've been talking about, in view of the mission that I've been talking about, one must remember that it will be doing so in deliberate ignorance of the unique identity of each of 17 Naga tribes out of 705 total recognized tribes across the country. Hence, a draconian law like the Uniform Civil Code is driven by the Hindu nation resolve of the BJP. And it doesn't end at Northeast region, at the states of Seven Sisters. Let me tell you that. It goes beyond. It goes to Myanmar. You go to the websites of the BJP and the RSS and read a little deeper, and you will find out. So, a draconian law like the Uniform Civil Code, when it is driven by the Hindu national resolve of the BJP and the RSS, directly attacking the identity of 104 million people of scheduled tribes that comprise 8.6% of the total population of this country, which again, another pothole that I am going to indicate at. The census last happened in 2011, and the BJP is deliberately delaying it. So the numbers that we have at hand are only projected numbers, because we don't have the actual numbers. And the Nagas would actually number much more if the census was held today. But the BJP government, in its pursuit of Hindu national resolve, doesn't want to hold that census. In a border-bound state like Nagaland, the Draconian Law of Citizenship Amendment Act after Uniform Civil Code, let me also briefly touch at Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Register of Citizens. These acts, if they were executed, if the Supreme Court did not intervene, what would happen? And what is bound to happen? It will compel the innocent people of Nagaland, the non-Nagas, the minorities of Nagaland, many of whose ancestors came to this beautiful land generations ago. They'll be rendered homeless. The gist of everything that I am saying, that I have remarked so far, is the breach, the deception, the defiance that the BJP renders upon each of its allies. The Enforcement Directorate, as I also pointed out in my last press conference, has reached the office of the Chief Minister, Mr. Nefirio. And so, the state of Nagaland is bound to meet the same fate if Mr. Nefirio doesn't bow down to the ways of the BJP, or let's say if he doesn't choose to, and we can clearly see that he's choosing to, which is why Mr. Alamteshi has left his, his company, because that's what the NDPP is doing here. So the NDPP is bound to meet the same fate as the PDP in Kashmir, leading the people of Nagaland to the dungeons of draconian laws like the UCC, CAA and NRC. And more recently, the fate of NPP in the state of Meghalaya and 3 other allies. You would know what has happened to the CM, Mr. Sangma. You would better know. And BJP has yet again dumped across the states those who are responsible for their very existence. Friends, you must note here, the model of the Operation Lotus is that they come to a state forging alliance with the local players. They play upon their strengths. They pull them into circumstances where they can be blackmailed, made to sit before the very institutions that the center controls today, the constitutional institutions that the center controls today, unethically so, illegally so, and then those allies are left helpless, leaving their people vulnerable, the people who placed their faith in the regional parties, opting them above the national parties, thinking that these regional parties, their leaders will represent their interests well. However, not knowing the innocent people of Nagaland, that Mr. Rio would lead them astray like this. Now, so this is the Kashmir model of Operation Lotus, as I pointed out. And it is sad that the outcome will be abrogation of 371A, I fear, in Nagaland. Abrogation of 370 has happened on the same line in Kashmir. We fear that there could be abrogation of 371A tomorrow if there's a uniform civil code, if the Hindu national resolve of the BJP meets its conclusion. It's important to point out here that even your former chief minister from the NPF, Dr. Sharojele Lezissu, who had, on one hand called the BJP the natural ally of the NPF, has admitted, and I'm quoting him, that there are elements fiercely and furiously doing the utmost to pierce the Trishul, the trident, into the heartland of Christ. Are we going to make the Christ bleed once again? That's the question we need to ask in our conscience to ourselves. While we at the Congress, we've been marching for the very protection of the Constitution, for every community of India that exists in this democracy, which protects us, protects all identities, protects the identity of Nagas, which is so dear to the rest of the country. We are marching against the draconian vision of this government. We are marching against the love of Rio government for the draconian ways of this government. And we want to leave you with these 5 questions, my friends. My Naga friends, I want to address each one of you when I ask each one of these 5 questions, and I want you to raise these questions in your heart from your own self. Will CM Rio allow the Hindu national resolve of this question is to the Chief Minister. Mr. CM, will you allow the Hindu national resolve of the BJP to pierce through the indigenous culture, the unique culture of the Nagas? Or will you speak up, Mr. CM, If not now, then when? Will Nagas allow politics of slogan to overpower the politics of indigenous rights? Will the inherently so strong Naga community stand with their migrant brothers and sisters now when they need it? And I'll remind you of the Martin Niemöller poem that I recited in the beginning. When they came for the Jews, I did not speak up because I was not a Jew. Will the voters of Nagaland stand against the politics of polarization, hatred, and Hinduization, as I said, of their cultures? I don't think so. Will the Nagas, most importantly, stand up for their origin, to oust a weak government which is bound to leave them vulnerable? With these words, I will remind you that the Congress's resolve has always been to strengthen the voice of the Naga people, and it remains so.